Plato has a theory of the soul, presented mainly in his work The Republic, on which the soul has three parts. There's the logos, or the rational part of the soul. There's the thumos, or the spirited part of the soul. And there is the epithumos, or the appetitive part of the soul. Now, each of those parts has a characteristic function or set of functions, and then a characteristic virtue, what it is for that thing to be doing its job. For the logos, or the rational part, its job, its function is to reason. Now, Plato conceives of reason a little bit more broadly here in that it is to perceive truth, but also goodness and beauty. The thumos is a little bit harder to grasp, but its function is it's the part of you that gets angry, and it's also the part of you that seeks honor and prestige and reputation. So Homer talks about the thumos as guiding the warriors at the Battle of Troy, for example. That's what they're seeking. That's what their thumos is seeking. Its characteristic function is that anger and honor seeking. Its characteristic virtue is courage. Again, just like in Homer. The epithumos is the appetitive part of you. It's the pleasure-seeking part of you. It's the part with the basest urges for food, for water, for sex, for shelter. And its virtue, interestingly, is moderation. So it's not really the job of epithumos or the appetitive part to seek its own moderation. It's actually kind of the job of the other parts to keep the appetitive part in check. Which brings us to the main point of distinguishing these three parts of the soul for Plato, which is to talk about justice. And for Plato, justice is essentially living well as a person. And what he says justice is, what he says it is to live well, is for those three parts to mind their own business in a technical sense. It's for each of those parts to do its job and its job alone, and to do that job well. And what he means by that in this case is the job of the reason part is to guide the other two parts and to orient them in the right direction. So he gives a couple of analogies for this. One is the analogy of the republic, the city. The well-governed city is governed from the top down. Another analogy, which he gives in the Phaedrus, a different dialogue, is the analogy of the chariot and the charioteer. If you imagine a chariot with one driver and two horses, that is the soul. And the proper way for the chariot to work is for the charioteer to drive the chariot and to guide the two horses, and for the horses to be submissive to the charioteer. Thus, the proper way for the soul to function is for reason to guide both the angry, honor-seeking part of yourself and the appetitive part of yourself. You're dysfunctional as a person if your appetites or your desire for honor and prestige are not in the control of your reason.